Kia ora. Last week I made an announcement that I want to start a tiny home eco-village here in Nelson where I live, and that I would be making regular updates to bring you along on the journey with me. And this is relevant for anybody who wants to create a community-focused housing development that's something different than the norm. Mine is a tiny home focus, but it also is about connection, affordability, and sustainability, and of course the community-led aspect of it. So if you want to hear the brief about that idea, please check on episode 1. So in this episode, I'm going to be delving into what has happened in the last week or 10 days since I made that announcement, what I have found out, and some of the things that I've been thinking about. Well, first of all, there is the name. I originally stated Tiny Home Eco-Village because I'm a member of the Global Eco-Village Network, and for me, it's really clear I want to live in a tiny home myself, and I believe in the Eco-Village principles, but that might not be necessarily the case. So why choose one name or set of words over another? And what would it mean to other people who either would like to live there or who could possibly be supporting the project? So those are the kinds of things that I've got to think about. I've kind of come to the conclusion that tiny home community might be the overarching name, with things like permaculture designed or regenerative or eco-village and co-housing forming part of that subline. I'm still feeling that out. So I'm going to be meeting with people and just hearing back from them. What do these words and names mean to you? And does it attract or repel? Does it feel like it's something that you would like to be a part of? So of course I want the greatest amount of collaboration as possible, which is why I think this is very relevant. Also in this country, in Aotearoa, we have the new Housing and Urban Design Policy Statement. Housing and Urban Development Policy Statement, which states that collective housing is a good solution for solving our housing crisis. And it gives examples of what it understands to be collective housing as co-housing, cooperative housing, and papakainga. But I don't believe that it would be limited to that, because there's actually a lot of different ways that people are choosing to house themselves that is under that collective housing banner. So if you're not familiar with that term papakainga, it's for Maori, the land, Maori-owned land. It's a way that Maori can develop as a way of sharing a house or a space together amongst family members. And of course, the term co-housing is more known amongst many people, and it's the way the property is laid out, where there's usually ownership of the houses themselves, but the land is held in common, as well as there's shared resources, a shared community house usually, and other design features that are quite common to find in co-housing. And it's been around for decades. It's a more understood term. And then there's the word eco-village. Again, not so well known, but it is something that is gaining traction here in this country, Aotearoa, as well as around the world. There is the Global Eco-Village Network, under which can be found so many different kinds of projects. But the principles, I thought I'd read them out. It's being rooted in local participatory process, integrating social, cultural, economic, and ecological dimensions in a whole systems approach to sustainability. And it is about actively restoring and regenerating the social and natural environments. And I think in that way, that's what I would like to create with the community in which I'm living. And then there's just the word community. Well, what does that mean? It's used so broadly by so many different kinds of groups. Well, the Foundation for Intentional Community defines it as a group of people who have chosen to live together with a common purpose, working cooperatively to create a lifestyle that reflects their shared core values. So these terms are all really helpful to really define and help to understand what we mean when we talk about tiny home community with all those other words. There's also the words permaculture and the words regenerative. Again, those might have meanings to different people, and I think we can explore those definitions, because permaculture has a set of values and design principles and ethics, and so does the word regenerative. So we want to get clear, what do all those mean when we're designing a community using those terms? So at this point, I'm going with the pretty quick way to say tiny home community, and we'll add all those other things as we go. The other key words and phrases which I want to make sure that we include when we're talking about this community is that we are making housing for essential workers or key workers, people that are adding value that might otherwise be forced out of the community because they can't afford to live here, what we might call key workers. A lot of businesses struggle to find housing for their employees, and a lot of new businesses can't grow because, again, they don't have the space. So if this is something that you're interested in, you are someone living already in this community and you're feeling a bit forced out because of price or even what's available, do please contact me, zola@commonground.net.nz, so I can get your story and add it to the reasons why this is such an important community. And then we also want to use the words climate change, because with that word regeneration and permaculture, we do address the effects of climate change. And that's really important, that we build new communities in such a way that we're mitigating any possible emissions in the development of as well as the running. So we would have local water, waste, and energy systems, which would be mitigating climate change. I recommend tapping into the Foundation for Intentional Community to see all the different ways that community is defined there, and their newest podcast, which is called Inside Community. So I'm going to leave it there for right now, and episode 3 we'll be talking about leads that I've had on land and my presentation to council, and we even have episode 4 coming up, which is on possible partnerships. So please subscribe and stay tuned for more updates.